Build, baby, build. That's our theme here. We're back. President Obama is making a strong push for his jobs bill. He even said yesterday he would be calling on the leaders of both parties to vote on the bill by the end of this month. That's October. It didn't take long for Republicans to push back. About an hour later, after the president, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor of Virginia told reporters the comprehensive dead on arrival because Republicans wouldn't bring the bill to the floor, preferring to work on, as he put it, I'm not sure he's telling the story here, individual pieces of legislation they say will help the economy. Anyway, Cantor's pussyfooting here. He went on to say, quote, "This all-or-nothing approach is unacceptable. First, he has problems on his own side of the aisle, as there are provisions in the bill that Democratic members disagree with. There are many issues that I've listed here that we can work together on instead of maintaining this campaign posture here." Well, the president kept the pressure on this afternoon at a community college just outside of Dallas, Texas. He called on Cantor, called out Cantor, in fact, and the GOP. Listen to the president.
I'd like Mr. Cantor to come down here to Dallas and explain what exactly in this jobs bill does he not believe in? What exactly is he opposed to? At least put this jobs bill up for a vote so that the entire country knows exactly where members of Congress stand.
Well, the president was speaking right there in Mesquite, Texas, which happens to fall in the congressional district of Jeb Hensarling, the chairman of the Republican conference, where Transportation for America reports there are 42 structurally deficient bridges just in that district alone. And these are the bridges in need of immediate maintenance or outright replacement, including the bridge on US 80 West over the Big Brushy Creek near Forney, Texas. It carries nearly 20,000 cars a day, every day, including trucks. And throughout this segment, we're going to just list those 42 deficient bridges in Jeb Hensling's district at the bottom of the screen. Those are bridges Americans can be put to work to fix right now. So will Republicans generally continue to be obstructionists, or will they give the president a vote on his jobs bill? Joining us right now is U.S. Congressman Schock, a Republican from Illinois. He represents Peoria. Sir, I've got to get to this question. What is your party position on the president's jobs bill? It's the only jobs bill in town right now. Are you against it or what?
Well, I challenge that it's the only jobs bill. We've been pushing a lot of bills that are pro-jobs, that are pro-growth. It's the private sector, Chris, as you know, that ultimately will create jobs that are sustainable.
Did you pass?
That are controlling. We've passed over 100 pieces of legislation, Chris, since Republicans took control of the House, that are parked over at the Senate, that Harry Reid will not allow for a straight up or down vote on it. And whether it be regulatory reform, you name it, we have passed.
Now we're talking jobs bills.
Yeah, what's a
jobs
bill? What's a jobs bill, Chris?
A jobs bill is
a bill that creates a job. And what we're focused on is creating an environment, Chris, that allows the private sector to create jobs. We have tried the last 2 years to create jobs by the federal government spending money, and it has failed miserably. In August and September, zero jobs net created. But I want to get to something where I think what you're trying to do constructively.
Let me get to my question here, and then we can move on to your ideas. It seems to me every time a Republican wants to get a regulation, get rid of regulations they don't like, EPA regulations, or get rid of taxes they don't like paying, they put the word jobs on it, because that makes them feel good, at least when they sell it. Congressman, I want to ask you a question about your district you represent. How many bridges in your district, roughly, do you think are below code, are described by the Department of Illinois, Transportation in Illinois, as being below code?
Too many.
How many? Give me an estimate. How many in your district that you represent?
Too many, Chris.
No, come on. Give me a number.
And you know what? The president's stimulus bill that he promoted in Peoria, Illinois, my hometown, that was going to put Americans back to work, that was going to invest in America's infrastructure, was a sham. Less than 8% of that infrastructure, of that stimulus bill, went to infrastructure.
Well, we're talking about infrastructure right now. Sorry, I'm talking about
but I want to talk about the president's jobs bill.
All politics is local. Okay, let's talk about your district.
Bill, which was $1 trillion
how many bridges in your district are dilapidated.
That stimulus bill was supposed to fix those bridges, and it didn't.
If you did what we did today and called the Department of Illinois and your own district and checked it out, you'd discover that you have a total of over 277 structurally deficient bridges in your district. We just posted right now. We spoke with someone from the Illinois Department of Transportation right now, just a few minutes ago, and they told us the number is actually up to 319 now. Structurally deficient bridges in your district. You agree? You didn't
outrageous, know. Chris, it's absolutely outrageous. How much of the president's jobs bill that he's promoting now will go to infrastructure?
At least a third of it.
No, $50 billion of the $400 billion, Chris, the exact amount that he had in the last stimulus bill. How much of that $50 billion
in this bill that he's trying, the American Jobs Bill include a third of the American Jobs Bill goes to infrastructure, sir. You know that.
And it has to be spent in the next year. How much of that can go in a year to go and fix those bridges that you point out are structurally insignificant? What we really need, Chris, what we really need is a 6-year highway bill. That's the kind of infrastructure investment that Republicans and Democrats can get behind.
I'm all for it.
Well, let's pass that. Let's talk about a 6-year highway bill.
You guys deal in ideology and theory, and I'm bringing you information about your district that you needed to know, which is you've got over 300 bridges deficient that need to be fixed that are below safety code. I want to go right now to Congressman Jim McDermott and be fair here. He has 19 bridges in his district that are below safety code that are deficient. The argument is that one way you can get people to work is give them jobs that need to be done. Don't create jobs. Do what needs to be done. Make our bridges safe. Just to start, your thoughts, Mr. McDermott.
Well, it's very clear, Chris, that the president has been stymied at every turn by the Republicans because Mitch McConnell made it very clear a long time ago that his only goal was to prevent the president from being reelected. And to do that, he has to prevent from getting the economy back on its feet and getting people back to work. People want jobs. There is work everywhere in this country. And they stymied him in the amount of money that they would let put in for infrastructure back at the beginning of his term, and now they're still doing it, and they'll find a million excuses why they can't do it. But it isn't happening without stimulus from the government. We are going to have that kind of infrastructure money.
Let me ask you, Congressman Schock, would you, I'm with you, by the way. I wish more of these stimulus packages were, I wish the whole 100% of them were infrastructure. But let me ask you this question to make your point. Would you vote right now, yay, to support the infrastructure piece of the president's bill? Just the bridge building, the bridge and road fixing. Would you vote for that? Yes.
If we can pay for it. I was on a bill, Chris, 2 points. Number one, on the president's original stimulus bill 2 years ago, I joined with then Chairman Jim Oberstar on an amendment. There were 40 Republicans at that time who joined Jim Oberstar on an amendment that would have doubled the amount in the president's original stimulus bill to be spent on infrastructure, and Nancy Pelosi would not even allow a single vote on that amendment. I've been pushing our leadership here in the House, John Boehner, Eric Cantor, to allow for a 6-year highway bill to move forward. Now, why is a 6-year highway bill significant? Number one, it's about $400 to $500 billion of infrastructure investment, close to 10 times what the president wants to spend, number one. Number two, it's over 6 years, so the infrastructure community, the construction industry,
why don't you become a Democrat
and hire people. I don't need
because
to become
your Republican leadership isn't backing this.
No. The same reason that President Obama hasn't advocated for a 6-year highway bill is the same reason the Republican leadership hasn't offered the plan, which is you got to come up with a way to pay for it. John Boehner 2 weeks ago in a speech here in D.C. to the Economic Club said he's looking at doing a 6-year highway bill, current gas tax coupled with revenue from offshore leasing of offshore drilling rights. I don't care what the pay-fors are, but Ronald Reagan passed one, Bill Clinton passed one, George W. Bush passed one, a 6-year highway bill that is paid for.
The problem is, Eisenhower built the interstate highway system back in the 50s. He wouldn't have been sitting around pussyfooting like you guys coming up with reasons why you can't get it done. You say you're for infrastructure. Let me go back to Mr. McDermott. We're using up his time. Mr. McDermott, why don't the Republicans, like this Republican, he says he with the great Jim Oberstar, who they bounced out of the Congress last year, why don't they support what they say? He says he's for building bridges and fixing bridges and all, but his leadership isn't pushing this bill.
You're getting the good cop, bad cop experience here. He's the good cop who says, I want a 6-year highway bill, and John Boehner's the bad cop, and he says, I can't find any money to do it. Now, they know where the money is. They could tax people over $250,000 in income. They could take away that tax break right now. They could take money from the oil companies. They have had profits out the window, and there is plenty of places that they could take money, but they will not make the effort to get the money. They do not want to do it. It's just that simple.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think that's the answer. Thank you, Congressman Jim McDermott. Thank you, Congressman Aaron Schock. By the way, Congressman Schock, I agree with you about road building. Let's do it. Up next, Obama derangement syndrome, the latest example.